Good afternoon to you. Mark Stott of HurricaneTrack here. It is now Monday, the 24th day of November 2025. Great to have you along with me, everybody, as we take a look, starting off anyway, at a big travel week. A lot of people hitting the road, hitting the skyways, as it were, to get to and fro for the big Thanksgiving Day festivities. We'll take a look at travel weather, especially the return trip. That could be pretty nasty, especially west towards the Rockies, we'll say. We'll look at that as we move along. We will also take a quick peek at the tropics. It is still technically hurricane season, and a little bit of a chance, a very small chance, that something else might try to come along and develop down in the southwestern Caribbean. We will examine that, and then we will end today's update with a big announcement of something new that is coming to the HurricaneTrack universe on Monday, December 1st, but we'll get to that at the end of today's update. First of all, let's take a look at the satellite animation of the lower 48 and vicinity. And what do you notice? Well, we are a nation divided. Boy, aren't we ever, right? This time, though, it is weather right down the nation's midsection. Some hail in parts of the panhandle of Texas overnight. And then we have severe weather and storms and whatnot in parts of eastern Texas, parts of southeast Oklahoma. And just a nasty overall pattern there, especially in and around DFW. And otherwise, though, the east looking pretty good, so we'll put a big check mark here. And west of this storminess, all the way out to the Pacific, we'll put a big check mark there as well. Looking pretty good, right? And then down in the Caribbean and elsewhere, also pretty nice. I know a few people who are on cruises down here. We'll leave them anonymous, but the weather is looking nice for some people that I know that are on various cruise ships, right? But, like I said, I think we're going to get some nastiness out this way towards the end of the big holiday week that is upon us. People are going to really start to hit the road pretty soon here. This is what it looks like from the satellite animation. This is the National Weather Service homepage, weather.gov, and luckily, this is not too colorful today. That's a good thing. A few areas, there is some fogginess down and around southeast Arizona. In fact, I retweeted a post from my friend out there, Jeremy, who got some drone video above the fog. I should have brought it up and had it queued up for you. That is on me. But make sure you check it out on my Twitter. I reposted it. Also, some fog through the Central Valley here of California. Some flooding issues where you would see any expected in that severe weather area. And then a few winter concerns along the northern tier states because the cold air is denser, thicker, more prevalent up that way. And this is some lake effect deal right here off of Lakes Ontario and Erie. So just be mindful of that. But luckily, as I said, this map is not filled in too much. But boy, is that likely to change as we get to the end of the week. We'll look at the modeling here in just a second. I'll point that all out to you. But the next couple of days, yes, there will be some issues traveling, but as that storm moves across the country. But by and large, we know it could be far worse. So if you're flying, certainly as it relates to the trickle-down effects, still lingering effects, the hangover effects, whatever you want to call it, from the shutdown, coupled with storminess in the nation's midsection, moving east, I'm telling you, leave yourselves plenty of time to get to the airports and do all the things you're supposed to do to prepare to fly. You probably already know this, but I'm here to remind you. Your life is stressful enough. Don't let the weather come along and add to it if you can help it, right? So here's what it looks like in model land. This is the GFS, the Global Forecast System, over the next 7 days. And let's use red to really make things pop. There is our current storm right there. This is the precipitation depiction of it anyway. A little bit of wintry weather way up in the northwestern parts of the country. But that's about it for now. But as we move through time, our upper Midwest low strengthens a little bit. So by the time we get to Tuesday night into Wednesday, maybe some pretty heavy snows here in parts of Minnesota. Pretty tight pressure gradient in here. Could be some blowing and drifting snow. And then the makings of this next feature coming into the Pacific Northwest. Oh yeah, this looks like it could be a doozy of a storm. Finally getting its act together. We're only 3 days now. This takes us out to Thursday morning. Lots of turkey and everything else, the smells of which wafting through the air. of many an American household. And look, just looking at this map, you can see the trough digging in. Pretty good lake snows coming around the backside of this cyclone up here. Cyclone's just a general term for a storm system. Ridging still holding on out west, but that's gonna change. This is 84 hours. If we get to about day 4 and 5, here comes those changes, and by the time we get towards the end of the weekend, right, so that's Saturday into Sunday, especially out west, probably some big travel problems depending on where you're flying, driving, or whatever from, and that will have consequences downstream. Airports, especially big hubs, when they have problems, elsewhere you get flight delays and so forth. This is Sunday, so you think about Salt Lake in here, eventually Denver, maybe Vegas, not so much Phoenix, but maybe. This is 6 days out, so it's up to you to keep an eye on things, but the point is, that's a hefty storm system coming in, and so by the time we get into Sunday, Monday, it really takes grip over a good deal of the western part of the country, and then we will kind of leave it at that for now, because we were basically a week out, and that's the extent of it, the reliable guidance. We don't really talk much about past a week's time frame, and we'll just leave it right there. There's 1 week out. Look, though, it is neat. Look at that nice wall set up by the very strong ridge of high pressure offshore over the Atlantic. Storm systems trying to come up and over that. We'll see if that holds through the winter. We're not quite there yet. December 1st. Hey, that's an interesting date, because that's when we're going to be starting something new, which we will get into in a few minutes. Storm-wise, as you might expect today, a slight risk of severe weather where you see the yellow. Tornado threat, 5 and 2%. That's not 0, so heads up. You know, if you're going to be having your nose in the phone, make sure you look at different products and people that you follow and trust to keep you aware. Wind threat, again, it's not insignificant, 15%, and even some decent chances of hail. And as I mentioned, we did have some hail in the Texas Panhandle overnight. All right, tomorrow, Tuesday, slight risk slips over into Alabama and vicinity, and then by Wednesday, no severe weather really organized across the east, just random scattered thunderstorms, general thunderstorm activity. But yeah, going back to the first day here, once you get towards the end of November, you don't really expect this, but there it is, ode to the very warm Gulf and the clash of air masses coming in. That is what you would expect to see. There's a boundary in there and lots of dynamics that gives us the chances of severe weather. Moving on to the tropics just for a minute or two. Nothing out there right now. Obviously, we're at the tail end of the hurricane season. However, the global forecast system, the old GFS, and a few other ensemble members of some of the other models, I know the Google AI, DeepMind, or whatever it's called, was hinting at this a little bit. The slightest of chances, just going to point this out to you, that maybe we do get some kind of development down in this region as a favorable pattern sets in with the MJO and maybe a little bit of energy coming off of some of these mountains down here, the vorticity, the spark, if you will. Very low probability, though. We're not seeing a big uptick across all the models. In other words, it's not all lit up in ensemble world. So there's just a few small indications that something might try to pop up, and I can show that to you here as we examine the old deterministic model from the GFS. We're going to be watching this area. Let's use blue to make it contrast a little better. Right down in here. And by the way, climatologically, this is where we would look this time of year, and lo and behold, as we get out to about day 5, a small piece of energy takes flight off the northwest coast of South America, and then we're out beyond 7 days there. See, so there's day 5, just the slightest hints of it. Sometimes the GFS pulls these pieces of vorticity like rabbits out of hats and turns them into tropical cyclones. If we zoom in to the West Atlantic extent, you can see it a little better. That's day 5. By day 6, enough of that vorticity sort of curls up down here. A little bit of this is owed to the geography of the region, and we're off to the races. However, not a lot of ensemble members from across all the major groups showing this, so it's just a low probability of something to keep an eye on, which makes sense. Water temperatures warm down here, It's not impossible, but it is also not probable. But wanted to make you aware of it because people are talking about it elsewhere, and I'm sure you've come across it in your algorithm, right? Yes, and that's something we're going to talk about in the future. And that leads me to this announcement. Something new that is coming to the HurricaneTrack universe on Monday, December 1st, 2025. Very excited about this. I've wanted to do something like this for a while, and it's time. It's time we do this. And what is it going to be? I'll set it up for you, then I'm going to show you the reveal of the logo for it. Basically, an internet talk show, if you will, kind of like a live podcast, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m., live on YouTube, and it will be called, drum roll please, Talking Weather with me, Mark Sudduth, a HurricaneTrack production. Why? Why would I want to do this? Well, the weather affects everything we do every single day, the economy, what we wear, where we're going, how we're going to get there. From the atmosphere above us, turbulence, think about that. De-icing of planes, the whole gamut, all the way down to the economy of shipping, hurricanes, tornadoes, hail, lightning, floods, whatever, fog, sleet, you name it. The weather impacts us way more than we realize, and I want to talk about it on a daily basis. But I want to do it in a format that is hopefully fun. I'm not going to have a clown show, but I definitely don't want to make it boring. So we're going to have a little bit of fun with it. Headlines, news and events, that kind of thing. Show a few tweets from people. So yeah, there'll be a little bit of a format to it, but nothing strict, nothing rigid. We'll have different people come on as guests. Maybe some people watching on YouTube, some of our patrons. We'll interact on Discord, social media, whatever. Make it all about the weather. We'll talk about it together and address things like upcoming storms that are far out into the future. And again, how the algorithm shapes what we see and why we see it. Unpacking long-range weather predictions and get different people on like Eric Webb or Ben Knoll to explain things better. It's not just about me. I don't know everything. And we're not going to rely on AI to solve that problem. Let's use real people. So we're going to do that starting Monday, December 1st, live on YouTube, 10 a.m. Eastern. And you say, well, when does it end? It ends when it ends. It ends when we are done. We will bookend it with two pretty good segments, I think. The ending segment, I might kind of leave that as a surprise because I'm very excited about the whole thing, but how we wrap it up, I think will be very appropriate and attention-getting and hopefully engage you folks in conversation and thought after the show is over. So, 10 a.m., Monday through Friday, and in addition to this, starting this coming Friday, a new thing for the weekend. Yes, Friday begins the weekend, so at 5 o'clock Eastern Time, kind of quitting time, if you will, for the East Coast, traditionally anyway, we're going to have a new thing called HurricaneTrack Weekend, where it's basically going to be music and just beautiful videos all strung together from drone shots that we've had over the years. We're talking more than 10 years of drone footage. Beautiful sweeping drone shots, weather balloon shots that we've done when we've tested our hurricane weather balloon project, to just GoPro shots of a beautiful sunset, maybe a slow supercell moving across a beautiful landscape. Nothing stressful. No wild weather, anything crazy like that. Relaxing HurricaneTrack Weekend. All the music in the background composed by me, played on keyboards that are right over here off screen. I was a music major, in case you didn't know that, before I started this whole weather thing 30 years ago. And so I've put music to all this stuff. Actually, some of the music you'll recognize from some of our documentaries. That's coming Fridays from 5 p.m. until 7 a.m. Mondays, HurricaneTrack Weekend. Just live, just calming, beautiful scenery as we look back through the archives of the good side of weather. Because goodness knows we have been witness to a lot of disruptive, high impact, and in some cases very dangerous and even deadly weather. But the good side of it, that is still a big part of what we've captured over the years as well. So a lot of new stuff coming for the HurricaneTrack universe, like I said, and I'm really looking forward to doing it and having our back-end team help and the support of our crowdfunding group on Patreon. And then the larger group of people just out there on the internet as a whole, I think you're going to really like this. It's going to be very engaging, and we will grow it together as we move along. And we'll see what happens. My intention is to do this for many years to come. All right? All right, so that's it. Coming up. Oh, I'm trying to get out of here. Got to rehearse this stuff to get the show to function properly, right? Yes, indeed I do. But yeah, coming up, you won't see me again until Monday, December 1st, and then we'll be live, 10 a.m. Eastern. And if you miss it, yes, it's recorded, and I'm going to pull down the audio and throw it on Apple as a podcast, so at least you can hear it that way. And it's going to be exciting. I think we're all going to have a good time with it, and I look forward to it. But between now and then, it is a big travel week. I do want to jump back on so I can say my goodbyes for now. Be careful out there, right? Lots of people hitting the road. It's a dangerous time. You got the deer to look out for. It is rut season or whatever, so they're very active. Plus the weather that we just talked about and all the travel delays. And then family feuds. Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun at your various Thanksgiving meals. Ah, yes. Have fun with that. Seriously, though, do be safe out there. And I will see you back at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, live on YouTube, Monday, December 1st. Can't wait to do it. I'll see you then. Have a great Thanksgiving. I'll see you on December 1st.